Hi, this is Kevin Trainer, and I'd like to welcome you to my introductory lecture for Infost 410 201. And what you should be seeing here in the video is you should be seeing a copy of week one of our schedule. And as long as I'm here, I just want to kind of give you a tour. This is typically a 16-week course, and we are squeezing it into 8. So this is going to be a lot of work, right? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun too. All right, that's our goal. So I have a weekly schedule. It's not on the D2L. There's a link to it on the D2L. I have a little schedule application that allows me to easily update the schedule and make it a little bit easier to navigate than it was possible when I kept them on D2L. Again, if you go to D2L, there's a link on our page that comes right, well, it actually comes to the index page, comes right here. And then you pick the week that you want and click on it. I'm going to click on week one, and there we are. Okay, now this is an online course. So you're going to be working fairly independently. The course week is going to run from Monday through Sunday night. So on Sunday night at 11:55, all of your work for that week is going to be due. I'm also having a special session on Thursday evenings. It's going to be one that you're able to log into. It's going to be from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. on GoToMeeting. And I've built this. I typically do this with my online courses, especially the hands-on ones. And I called this a lot of different things. I've called it a drop-in session. I've called it a discussion session. I've decided for the purposes of our course this summer, I'm going to call it online office hours. But there are going to be really two major purposes of this session. One, in all but the first week, you're going to have had a homework assignment that you've got to get done. Okay. And the one that typically one that you handed in the week before. Okay. So I find it really helpful to go over the solutions. And what I usually do is when I get a handful of people on, I ask them to show us what they did. And particularly the people who maybe took a special approach or maybe got stuck someplace. It's a real kind of opportunity for us all to talk through the solutions to the homework and why the solutions are what they are. In addition, I'm posting the solutions to the D2L page. They're not going to be available until immediately after the assignment was due. Okay? The other thing that people do when they come to these online sessions is they get help for the assignments in the current week. Okay? And all kinds of help are possible. Okay? Like people who have a really narrow question about a special feature that they'd like to use. I get people with very basic kinds of questions. Okay. And I help all the people who come with a problem, and there's usually plenty of time to do it. Okay. So this is not a required session, but I would come at least for the beginning of it, at a minimum, in order to see us walk through the homework solutions and to be able to discuss them if you have any questions at all. Okay, so those are going to be on Thursday evening. The homework is due on Sunday evening at 11:55. Okay. Um, Most of the assignments are hand-in assignments. During the first week, we also have a requirement that you post in the class discussions forum an introduction to yourself. Okay, so I've got the instructions here. Class participation assignments due. Okay, and we don't have any coding assignments in week 1. Now, there are exercises at the end of chapters 1 and 2. And so it would be worthwhile to read through those and maybe try the stuff that's there. These aren't things that you have to hand in. Okay. Well, I know there are at the end of chapter 2. Maybe there aren't at the end of chapter 1. But try those. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to be recording my lectures. All right. So for week 1, I already had 2 tutorial videos that have been up for a couple of weeks now on how to install MySQL Workbench and MySQL Community Server. These are 2 products you're going to have to install on your computer, right? At this point, just yesterday, I finished the recording of my lectures for chapters 1 and 2. And before the end of the day today, I'm going to have the last of these up, and I'll be sending everybody an email to say that the video that you're watching right now is available too. Okay? So I'm going to expect you to watch the videos. I've included a copy of the slides that I use just in case you wanted to refer to them. Okay? You'll see them in the videos, so perhaps you won't need to refer to them. Okay? So the big deal for week 1 will be getting your computing set up, right? Which you're going to want to do because you're going to want to practice some of the stuff we learn in chapter 2. Okay? Even though there isn't a hand-in coding assignment. All right. So that's week 1. We're covering chapters 1 and 2. In week 2, we're going to cover chapters 3 and 4. And I'm going to have a lecture video for each of those. And I'm going to have a tutorial video on how to install the My Guitar Shop database, and one on how to complete and submit the exercises that you're going to be handing in at the end of each week. Okay, so here are the exercises you'll see here in week 2. We've got coding assignments due, and there are coding assignments that are associated with chapter 3 and some that are associated with chapter 4. I want to point out that these exercises that we're doing are like the ones that are in the book, but they are not the ones that are in the book. The ones that are at the end of each chapter in the book um, are great for practicing. The solutions to those are available um, when you download the material from the textbook, and information on that is in the textbook, and it's also on the video on how to install the software. Okay, so one of the things I say to people is if you get stuck on one of these coding assignment exercises, there's usually um, there's usually a pretty similar exercise in the book. It uses another database, but you could go find the exercise that's the closest, and then you could go to the solutions and get a hint from how they solved that one. Okay, so that's all fair, and that's why I talked about it. Okay, so that's week 2. In week 3, we're going to be doing chapters 5 and 6, and there are coding assignments associated with each of those. In week 4, we're going to be doing chapters 7 and 8, and there are coding assignments associated with each of those. In week 5, we're going to be doing chapters 9 and 10, and there are coding assignments associated with each of those. And let's look at the next week. Week 6 are chapters 11 and 12, coding assignments associated with those. Okay. And let's look at week 7. In week 7, we're going to be doing some I wouldn't call them advanced topics, maybe high intermediate topics. These are not going to have coding assignments. There are exercises in the book, and of course the exercises in the book come with the solutions, and so you can see those. Okay, but what I'm really trying to do is to give you more time to work on your final project. Okay, because in week 8, your final project is going to be due at the very end of week 8. Okay, and there's a lot of work here, right? So if you're not working on that by week 7, you're probably starting it too late. So in week 8, it's really, we're not covering any more material. This is time for you really to devote to the final project. The final project is a small database project that I'm going to have you do from start to finish. Okay. And I'm going to have the requirements for that up and the grading rubric for that up, well, pretty soon. It says here I'll have them up tomorrow, and I intend to. Okay, so this is how the course lays out. It's really important to keep on top of this. It's really important to get the assignments in on time. In fact, what you're going to see in a minute, and if you read through the syllabus on your own, you will have already seen. If you turn your coding assignments in on time, and if you make a good faith effort to do each all of the exercises, to at least give them a start, even if you don't get them finished and have the right answer. Okay, you'll get a minimum score on the assignment of 85. Okay, if on the other hand you don't do that, okay, if you don't make a good faith effort to, if you don't get them in on time, make a good faith effort on each of the exercises or all of the exercises, or if you generally don't follow directions, well then you're on your own. Okay. So that is the layout of the course. Let's go back and look at week 1 because there's a syllabus here. I want to go over that. So we've got the name and the number of the course. It's an online course. My particulars, Kevin Trainer, my email, my mobile number. Okay. And it is okay to call me, right? If you need some help, or perhaps you want to set up a time where we could speak at length. One of the things that you can do is come to the online office hours, but the other thing you could do is we could set up other times via email, and we could talk either via phone or sometimes what I do is I do the GoToMeeting. The nice thing about the GoToMeeting is we can see each other's computers. And so for a lot of programming related problems, that turns out to be very helpful. I mentioned already the online office hours I'm going to have on Thursday evening. They're going to be from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And these are optional, but I think it'd be a good idea to come by, if not for anything else, for the part where we go over the solutions to the preceding week's homework. Okay. So now we have a description of the class. And the class is a first course in relational databases with an emphasis on learning how to use MySQL. Okay? So if you look at the topics are a list of the chapters that we're going to cover in the textbook. And the textbook takes a really practical approach. It's somewhat different from a lot of other textbooks, and the design of the course is a little different. What they do in a lot of courses is they teach you how to design a relational database first, and then they teach you how to use one second. Okay. Well, that's problematic. Okay. It's really hard to appreciate a lot of the design concepts when you don't really fully appreciate how to use the tool. So this book takes the other approach. In chapter 1, we give you sort of a general overview of what relational databases are and kind of explain the design of the practice database that we're going to use for most of the course, the accounts payable database. And then we go on in the chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, we go on and we teach you how to use that sample database. So we're not going to learn how to design a relational database till I think week 6. Okay, so we'll be pretty far along before we learn how to design one. Okay. A lot of the design for your final project I am going to give you. So I give you a basic design that I ask you to finish. Okay. All right, so that's what's in the course. Okay. The text, it's the second edition of Marock's MySQL. This has been out for, well, a little bit over a year. And some things are changed in it. And so I think you do best to have the second edition because the first one is not going to match the course. It's different enough that you're going to need the second edition. Okay? In terms of software, we're going to expect you to be doing this work on your own computer. All right? And there are two pieces of software that we're going to have you install. MySQL Community Server, that's a free product, and MySQL Workbench, that's another free product. This is something that you should get done. If you haven't done it already, it should be done by the end of week 1. Why? Because you're going to need to use it for the coding assignments in week 2. Okay. Now I give you some ideas about what version to install here in the content that's in the syllabus. I've also done a tutorial video from one for Windows and one for Mac OS X. And between those, those two sets of resources, I think you ought to be able to do fairly well. I've also created a topic on our forum in which I'd like you to post things having to do with the MySQL software. And that can really be any kind of question at all. Okay. And I'm going to monitor that forum, and I'm going to offer advice and help. And anybody else who would like to do that, you're welcome to chime in and help. I could use all the help I could get. Okay. The objectives of the course. Let's see. For the most part, they're the objectives for all the chapters that we're going to do. But so one of the things I want you to do is I want you to understand the advantages of using a relational database management system rather than other kinds of computer files, and definitely why this is more appropriate for building applications than spreadsheets are. And then we're going to learn how to code queries for a single that extract their data from a single table, then queries that extract them from 2 or more tables, how to code summary queries, they're kind of analytical, how to code subqueries, they're kind of tricky but powerful, how to use insert, update, and delete. So you can use this product to build an entire system, not just to query a database for answers. And of course, to do that, you've got to be able to get the data into the system, and you have to be able to maintain it. So we're going to do that with insert, update, and delete. We're going to go over the data types. We're going to teach you how to design a simple but a non-trivial relational database, one with more than 2 or 3 tables. We're going to have you create databases, tables, and indexes using the data definition language, which is a subset of SQL. We're going to teach you to create views. We're going to teach you how to back up and to restore a simple relational database. That's going to be important for your project. The way that you're going to hand in your project is you're going to hand in a backup copy. All right. So you're definitely going to have to learn that. And then we're going to learn about transactions and locking. These are things that are pretty important in production systems. These aren't things that we're going to be using in our final project, but these are things that you're definitely going to want to know about. The instructional methods we're going to use, I've really talked about all of them. The course schedule, here's a link to the schedule. Okay, in fact, I think I can probably go to it right here via that link. So that link does work. Very nice. I am not. One of the things I'm eventually going to do is I'm going to put a copy of the schedule. I'm going to attach it to the back of the syllabus. Okay. But that isn't one that I'm going to update. Okay. The one I'm going to update is the one that you go to with this link. So that the link will take you to the authoritative copy. Okay. And if I make changes to the schedule, I typically send you an email. Ooh, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. Okay. Work required of students. This is going to take quite a bit of work. So, the estimate is 160 hours. So this is a lot of work. Okay, so allocate time and work on it hard. Before you do the videos that are the lectures, it's going to be best that you do the reading first. Okay. Coding assignments, I already mentioned. You need to complete them and to hand them in by the deadline to get full credit. Okay, and we'll talk about that in another minute. All the work that you submit has to be your own. Okay, so I don't want you copying other people's work. I don't want you copying my work. You need to do your own work. On the other hand, you can get help. Okay. One of the things that I think works particularly well is if you're stuck on something, to show the place where you're stuck to somebody. Show it to me. Show it to a fellow student. Show it to a friend who knows relational databases, and have them point out how, why you're stuck and get you started again. Okay, so you don't have to guess at all this stuff. I just want these all to be. I want this all to be work, both with the exercises and the final project. I want this all to be work that you do yourself. Can you consult with others? Yes, you can consult with others, but you have to do it yourself. Okay? I have a part of the grade that has to do with your participation. Okay? And now there are, kind of three ways to participate. One is I've got an assignment in the first week for you to post an introduction to yourself. Well, that's going to count. Any posting that you do to our forum is going to count as participation. And those of you who decide to come to office hours and participate there, that'll count as participation too. Okay? So remember to participate because it counts. Now, what kind of assignments have we got? Well, we've got coding assignments. Okay, and this here's a right up here, but we're not doing, and I think I mentioned this already, we're not doing the exercises that are at the end of each of the chapters. And the reason we don't do those is that the author has published the solutions. And so we use those. I offer them up for your practice. You if you want to see good examples of how to do things, look at the exercises and look at the solutions. Okay. Um, the other set, there's a companion set of exercises that they publish for the instructors, and those are the ones that you can get to copies of in the weekly schedule. So for instance, let's go back to the weekly schedule and let's go to week 2, and there's a link that says exercises, and this has the exercises. Now these look like they came out of the book, but they're just associated with the book. Okay? They are not the ones from the book that you'll have in your hand. All right? So let me get us back to the syllabus so we can talk through the rest of it. Okay? So the coding assignments are due at the end of the week. Don't wait till the end of the week to do them. I would probably try them before Thursday, because if you need some help, you can come by on Thursday evening and we're going to be talking about it, right? So we're going to go over the solutions to the week before, but anybody who's stuck can show us whatever they have, and we'll get them unstuck. Okay, so probably best to start before Thursday evening in case you want to come and get some help there. Your primary feedback on the coding assignments is going to be, I'm going to post the solutions on the D2L. We're going to discuss the solutions on Thursday evening. Okay. I will grade them. Okay. But it'll take me a couple of weeks to grade them. And your primary feedback should really be coming, the week of. Okay. You should look at the solutions that I publish. You should come and be part of our discussion on Thursday evening, and then you'll know how you did. I get people that say, well, I don't know how I did. Well, if you pay attention to what we do when we review the solutions, you should know exactly how you did. If you did what we did, then you got it right. If you did something else, well, then you got it wrong. Okay? So I will be grading these. I will be sending them back, but they're not going to show up super fast, so be ready for that. Okay? I've already said this. I'll say it again. So we have a system that I find that people learn the most when they have actually tried the assignment, actually tried their best to get it done before we review the solution. So if I make the solutions available when we have the deadline, okay, that means the learning opportunity has diminished. So you can do them after I've published the solution. You just won't learn as much. So, to encourage you to do things on time, I have this deal whereby if you meet all the requirements, you earn a minimum score of 85. So if you got 100, you'll get 100. Okay. But if you tried it and you did a pretty dismal job because you just didn't get this chapter, right? You tried your best, but you didn't get it. Well, then, if you instead of your score works out to be a 65, if you handed it in on time, plus it made a try at every one, okay? Showed us a good faith effort for every one of the exercises and followed the directions on things like naming your file the right way, submitting it the right way, well, then your minimum score will be 85. Because we're publishing the solutions, okay, and if you hand them in late, you can see them before you hand them in. The maximum you can earn if you hand in the work late is 84. Okay. Now the final project is interesting. Okay. It's a little system that you're going to develop for a little business called Wilma's Wild, Wisconsin. And I have the write up on the project. I'm going to have that posted up tomorrow. The idea is kind of like this. Wilma's Wild, Wisconsin does all their work on spreadsheets, right? So they don't have this kind of relational database level of technology. And what I'm going to have you do is from a design that I give you a lot of inspiration for, if not the whole design. I'm going to want you to build the database, to populate it with data, and to write the queries to get the data out to answer the questions that they need to run the business. Okay? And then you're going to hand that in, and I'm going to load it up, and I'm going to run it one part at a time, and that's what you're going to be graded on. Okay? So more details to follow. The grading. So class participation is 10%. So remember to participate. Okay? That's going to include posting and anybody who participates in the online office hours. The coding assignments are 45% of the grade. The final project is 45%. Okay, so coding is essentially 90% of your grade. All right. It's going to help your grade a lot if you participate. It's going to help your grade a lot if you get your assignments in on time. That 85, which you could get for following directions and handing your work in on time, that can help your grade considerably. Okay, so keep that in mind. The table I have here for converting numeric grades to letter grades is pretty standard. Okay, I've been using this and I inherited it. I've been using this for several years and I inherited it from my colleagues, so I don't think you'd be surprised by that. There's a bunch of policies here at the end of the syllabus, and I'm going to say two things. The first thing is that these are the same on all of my syllabi or syllabuses, if you want to say that. So you might be inclined to just kind of gloss over them. But the other thing I want to say is that they're about important stuff. Okay? So they're about things like help available for students with disabilities. They're about things like uh, the absence policies having to do with special circumstances like religious observances and military duty. Okay. Now this could relate to the to an online course in terms of well, you certainly could be called to military duty, whether you're online or not. Incompletes, they're hard to get. Okay, so read that. Discriminatory conduct. Um, we are going to be interacting with each other, both online and both with the written word and the spoken word. So we're expected to treat each other with due respect and dignity. So that's important too. Academic misconduct. You're expected to follow the rules. And complaints. I'm expected to follow the rules. So uh, remember to look through these because they're important stuff, even if they're kind of boilerplate at the end of the syllabus. So just to, grade appeal procedures. That's an important one to know about too. Okay, so it may be standard stuff, but it's standard important stuff. So this is a lot of hard work. It should be a lot of fun. It's very hands-on. Okay. Um, I really like doing the exercises because every time you do one, you can run it and you can see the results, and it's very tangible. It's very rewarding. We're using a real product that people use in the real world. Um, so I think this is a job skill that's going to be important to you. So get ready to buckle down and hang on and have some fun here as we pursue this over the next 8 weeks. Having said that, I'm going to say bye until next time. Bye bye.